let's talk about planning. There's two types of planning. Trip planning and PTA planning. And be familiar with both of those terms because your fleet manager is going to expect that you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go over kind of the way our operation is set up. We have customer service reps, one for Utah outbound, that's outbound freight out of Utah, one for California, one for the Northwest, one for the Northeast, and one for the Midwest. These guys are responsible for the customer relationship, if you will. Making sure that we stay in balance. We get our freight through a variety of ways, internet, websites, fax, phone call, email. However that customer wants to get us that freight tender, we have to be able to adjust to what they want to do. Okay? So these guys are responsible for the customer relationship. Then you have 3 CSR support. The CSR support people, their main function is appointments. We do literally 95% of every load we haul. We do the pickup appointment and the delivery appointment. So they're really busy. 3 load planners. The load planner is the person that selects the load for you, not your fleet manager. So if you get a crappy load, you ain't going to get no crappy loads. Yeah, you will. Occasionally you're going to get a dud. Don't blame your fleet manager and ask him, you know, how come you hate me or whatever. The load planner is the person that sends the loads to the trucks. And they have no preference. I mean, they don't look at your picture and say, I really like this driver, so I'm going to give him this really good load. They literally put you in a lineup from first in to first out. It's the earliest PTA to the latest PTA. First load goes to the earliest PTA. Next load goes to the next PTA. It just goes right down the list. Then you've got one OS&D person. That's Dave Benson. You guys just met him. You have one detention manager. And you also have one what's he called? Director of Customer Service, sorry. Okay? That's on the fleet management side, or on the customer service side. Over on the fleet management side, you have 8 fleet managers during the day, 1 at night, 3 to 4 on the weekend. Then we also have, who else do I got in there? A chief operations officer, and I got the OS&D and detention, okay? So that's about 27 people, I think, give or take. It was the last time I added them up. 27 people in operations, huh?
600 trucks.
No, 512 this morning. We do 800 to 1,000 loads a week. Or, on average, 1,000,000 miles a week. Okay? Now, if you think about that, I mentioned that those 3 customer service support people, they schedule all the pickup and delivery appointments. That's busy for those 3 people. It's crazy. So they have to have a formula that says, for this load, I need to schedule this much time for it. And it's probably one of the most important terms that you'll hear in operations on the other side of the driver counter is velocity. We measure how long it takes a truck to get from point A to point B. And we don't taking into account 10-hour breaks, fueling, all of that. And we measure how long that takes. And the measurement is how fast did that truck travel from the time it picked up the load until it delivered the load. Now, how fast was the truck going when it was driving, but the elapsed time, including 10-hour breaks and fueling and everything you guys have to do, we measure that by the day, by the month, by the year, by the fleet, by the lane, sometimes by the hour. Velocity measurement. A good velocity is 30 miles per hour. Time the load picks up till the time it delivers, including 10-hour breaks. Okay? The trucks are dispatched at 55 miles an hour, a dispatching system, but a good velocity is 30 miles an hour. The reason we measure those that way is if you've got one drive shift on a load, but you've got a 10-hour break before that load and you've got a 10-hour break after that load, and you include both of those 10-hour breaks plus the drive shift, it's going to bring this velocity way down. Okay? So literally those CSR support people, they have a chart. And it's got mileage on one side, velocity on the other, and they just put the 2 points together, and that's how they schedule the freight. A good example, I'm going to give you one, 900-mile load. Okay? Let's say I got a 900-mile load, and the receiver says they want this load delivered, or the customer says they want it at the receiver on the 3rd. Okay? I'm CSR support person. I got to decide how much time to put on that load. I grab my little chart, go down to the left, 900 miles. I want a 30 velocity is what we shoot for. It's going to tell me what? 30 divided by 30 miles an hour. Somebody do the math. 30 hours. Every 900-mile load we do, no matter what direction it's going, no matter what you're hauling, no matter if it's uphill both ways or headwind both ways or whatever, every load we try to schedule for 30 velocity, and that would give you 30 hours on that load. It's tight, but it's doable. It's illegal. It's a legal dispatch. If I had an 1,800-mile load, 30 velocity, it'd just be 60 hours. That's all they do. Because we don't monitor your hours. We don't measure and sit there and look after your hours. You guys do that. You're responsible to tell us what your situation is. If we had to look at every load and try to pick a load that fits a driver's hours every time, wouldn't get anything done. It's just send out the loads and let the driver tell you what they're capable of, because every one of you guys is different. You're not all capable of exactly the same thing. Let's just say I've got this load, it's 900 miles. I'm customer service, I need to schedule the appointment. Customer says get it there on the 3rd. So I call the receiver and I say, hey, I'm with Pride. I need to deliver XYZ company's freight to you on the 3rd. What appointments do you have available? And she says, well, we only have one available. Okay, we're going to take some latitude here on this to get through this example. She says, oh, all we have is a noon appointment. Okay, I'll take it. So then that customer service support person backs that load up, the pickup, because the customer really doesn't care when we pick it up. If we want to make it a waste of time for our driver and our company, they probably don't care. Pick it up on the 28th if you want for 900 miles to deliver on the 3rd. She calls the shipper, and if I go back 30 hours exactly, it's 0600 on the 2nd, correct? Yep. 24 plus another 6, 30 hours. So I call the shipper and they say, you're calling way too late. We don't have that appointment available. Well, what do you have? Well, I have 2 more options. You could pick it up on the 1st at 0600, or you could pick it up on the 2nd at noon. Okay, this one's not available anymore. Now you're talking a whole nother 24 hours, so it's 54. Or you're talking 24 hours, which is probably an illegal dispatch for 900 miles, 24 hours. So given all we have to choose from is this or this, which do you think we're going to take?
Noon on the 2nd. Do the swap.
noon on the 2nd. Okay, Kevin's worked here before. Almost every driver every week says, "Oh, that's illegal. It's going to be 0600 on the 1st." Anytime we can speed a load up rather than slow it down, we're going to do it and figure it out, right? You'll hear that a lot. Go get it picked up, we'll figure it out. And what that means is do a turn. Yes, not one driver can do that load by himself, but two can. And the faster you can make that load, the more money the driver makes, the more money the company makes. I know I've told you already that we don't make any money unless you guys drive miles. We don't rent anything. We don't sell anything. We don't sell owner-operators fuel or anything like that. We make money when you're turning miles. So, the reason I go through this whole big long discussion is so that you understand the mechanics of how it works in the office, which is we book freight, we start throwing it out to the drivers that are in that area, and we wait for them to respond back to us to tell us what they can do with the load. No, not what we can do with it, what you can do with it, right? So you do that in the form of a load confirmation. This is the first macro that you're going to send back to us after you see the load that we've sent you, right? And it takes into account your situation. We're basically saying, here's the load we have for you. What can you do with it, right? The load confirmation is going to ask you, can you pick up on time? Yes or no. Can you deliver on time? Yes or no. And then there's a place for comments. So when you see the 24-hour load, don't break the driver tech and go, are you crazy? I can't do this, right? All you need to do is answer those two questions. Okay? Can you pick up on time? Yes or no. Can you deliver on time? Yes or no. Now I'm going to draw this out. Okay? 900-mile load. And this is the trip plan. When you see this load, whether you're still on a load currently that you need to finish or whether you're sitting empty, the trip plan's basically the same. You're going to take 14 hours that you can work and 11 hours that you can drive, and you're going to start taking away from that for that one day. If it's more than, if you got a 3-day trip, you just continue on that path, adding hours in, the hours that you're picking up at midnight. So we're going to do this. I'm sitting right here, and I get this 900-mile load that picks up at noon on the 2nd, okay, and delivers at noon on the 3rd. Okay? It's 50 miles from where I'm at. Picks up 50 miles from where I'm sitting. And we're going to pretend that I'm at the receiver, backed into the door, ready to deliver. Okay? I'm right here, and I have a 0900 delivery appointment. And I'm sitting there at the dock. I slept there that night, so I don't have to move my truck. But they told me I have to be on the dock to count the freight. Right? So I'm getting ready to go in, my driver tech beeps, and it says, hey Steve, after you get done with the load that you're on, we need you to pick up at noon 50 miles away and then deliver at noon the next day 900 miles away. Right? Everybody with me so far? Yeah. Good. So my job is to tell Pride in the form of this load confirmation right here what I can do with that load that they just sent me. So the first thing I'm going to do is, they told me I had to be on the dock, right? So I'm going to figure that's going to take a couple of hours. And that's on duty, not driving time if you're working. So now I'm down to 12 on my 14-hour clock. I could still drive 11. Everybody get where I'm going here? Okay. So that's a couple hours there. It's going to take me 1 hour to drive the 50 miles, so that's another hour off of here. And now I'm down to 10 there. Another 2 hours to pick the load up. as a new driver, that's always a good unit of measure to use, 2 hours at a pickup or a delivery. You'll find, though, that they vary greatly. Some are faster, some are slower, but we don't reinvent the wheel every week. We pick up and deliver the same freight every week. So you'll start to get a feel of who's slower and who's faster, right? So I'm going to use 2 hours to pick up. Now I'm down to 9 on my work day, and I can't go past that 14, so I can drive 9 hours, right? I've delivered, I've driven, I picked up, I got 9 hours left. How far am I going to get on my load, on my 900-mile load?
65, right?
Somebody throw out a number. 4 to 5, right? Let's say halfway, right in between, 450 miles. So before I ever walk in to my receiver to deliver the load that I'm on, because Pride just sent me a load, they want to know what I can do with the load that they just sent me as soon as possible. Don't wait halfway through your day without sending in this load confirmation, okay? So in this particular example, can I pick this load up on time?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Can I deliver it on time?
No.
No way. And we're going to say that that is North Platte, Nebraska. Okay? So all you need to do is tell us, turn North Platte.